Alright, let us go into the world of Palworld, the game that we all know definitely is not Pokemon. Palworld is being sued, in case you did not know that. Nintendo decided to sue them, and some of you may or may not be aware, but they don't have a track record of losing lawsuits that they initiate. So, yeah. It's looking kind of bleak.
Okay, listen up, everyone. Today's story actually does matter a lot. Nintendo are suing.
Nintendo lawyers are like, don't poke the king, And Nintendo in this case is the king.
Palworld, but it's not for the reason that you think. It's not because designs are too similar. It is cold-blooded business. And that...
I mean, I don't think it's because of the fact, the lawsuit is definitely not about the fact that they're similar in design, because we have other things that are similar to Pokemon in design. But, Palworld is a big enough threat to them in terms of people rioting and wanting something different and more fun. And also, it is its biggest rival right now, I think. Yeah, imagine good games. Imagine being a good game.
That is a quote. It's not just the opinion of me, some Westerner who doesn't understand Japanese law trying to pump up the story for you. It's what Serkan Toto called it. Cold-blooded business.
Cold-blooded business. Nintendo is patent trolling Palworld because it got too big. See? As I said, they literally got too big. They are the biggest threat to them right now.
Now, he runs a game consultancy firm in Japan. He is absolutely seen as a regional expert. He knows what he's talking about, and worse, for Palworld developer Pocket Pair, he thinks Nintendo will win. Now, I get it. You may think, I don't play...
That is rough. It's very, for me, it's very hard to judge exactly who's going to win. I do know Nintendo is very, very good at not losing, or rather, I think they've never lost whenever they initiate it. But, yeah. Many people are asking me about specifics in the lawsuit. As of right now, there are no details out in Japan. The last time Nintendo sued for patent infringement, the filing happened in 2017. Details started emerging about 2-3 weeks later. Yeah. This should happen quicker this time, as the colloquial filing back then happened just before a string of public holidays. I see. So next week.
Now, I get it. You may think, I don't play creature collectors. This doesn't matter to me. Well, the bad news is it does. This is a direct threat to what we all enjoy. It's a precedent against the entire industry.
Yeah, it's a precedent for any of the Nintendo games, which is, guess what? It's not just Pokemon games. It's not just the collectors.
And if past predicts future, Nintendo will almost certainly win, because their domestic litigation track record is legendary. Now, I'm sure you know the phrase, if you come for the king, you better not miss. Well, 404 Media spoke to Dr. Toto, and it turns out, to his memory, Nintendo have never lost
don't poke the bear
that they started. So yes, their lawyers are big brains with big wallets, and you can gear up to beat them.
Good night,
with today's sponsor. We're going to help you transform doom scrolling into actual lasting satisfaction. They're brilliant.org/Bellular News, who actually helped me benefit from my tech rather than be hijacked by it. They make interactive.
Palworld was very fun. It was a really cool game.
Thousands of interactive lessons in maths
graphs and histograms,
programming and AI, and it's all on their site and app that is gorgeously designed, where everything's interactive, which means you actually feel the concepts that you're learning. This method is proven to be 6 times more effective than lecture videos, which certainly does match my experience doing lectures, where I...
It's kind of funny because I feel like a lot of people, when it comes to reading graphs and reading charts and being able to analyze data, right? Or STEM in general, I feel like it's a bit lacking. A lot of people don't know how to read them. A lot of people don't know how to build them. A lot of people don't understand them. It's like,
I don't really remember any of them, but I do remember things that I've done. Now, I love Brilliant because understanding STEM topics is vocationally useful, but also life useful. Sharp problem solving and analytical skills are important in a world that is getting more full of data, more chaotic. As an example,
also attention span and everything, being able to analyze and seeing patterns and being able to interpret your data is very important.
Like their data pathway, they just relaunched it. It's packed full of real-world data from Airbnb, Spotify, Starbucks, and other big businesses, where you'll learn how to parse, visualize, and understand data. Of course, your professional life will thank you, and these skills, like say deeply understanding...
Graphs are simple, says the programmer. Hey, don't call me out. Don't call me out. I mean, It's just sad to me that a lot of people don't know how to read them.
Probability can help you stay grounded in the world. So you can turn that doom scrolling into a daily learning habit at brilliant.org/Bellular News. There you will get a 30-day free trial and 20% off an annual plan. I highly recommend them. Seriously, it is so much better than just scrolling around your phone achieving nothing. We first caught with
I wonder, am I the only one that does not doom scroll on their phone? Like, I do have TikTok, right? But I watch maybe 1 or 2 TikToks and then I'm done. I'm just like, well, I got work to do. I have stuff to do. I don't have time for that. And like, yeah.
to this months back whenever the Pokemon Company finally responded, and edited for brevity, this is what they said. We have received many inquiries regarding another company's game released in January 2024. We haven't granted permission to use our IP or assets and intend to investigate and take appropriate measures. So they said, we're looking into it.
I remember that tweet. They tweeted that, like, I think about 2 weeks after Palworld release as a warning shot, kind of going like, we see you.
And certainly,
at least they were kind enough to give a warning, I guess.
We're all thinking the same thing. Did Pocket Pair yoink something? Did they rip a model from Pokemon? Did they kit bash using models from Pokemon? Allegations to that effect were all over the internet. VGC actually spoke to 2 AAA 3D modelers whenever the Pokemon Company released their statement, and they basically said, you cannot in any way, and this is a quote, accidentally get the same proportions on multiple models from another game without ripping the models, or at the very least, tracing them meticulously first. One of those people said they would stand behind their words as an expert witness in court.
Damn.
But more relevant to today, VGC also ran it by an IP lawyer. The IP lawyer said, if proven, that would be a smoking gun. Today's statement from Nintendo and the Pokemon Company is not...
Like, you know, the weird part is they ripped off, like, Pokemon ripped off designs as well. And it's just baffling to me that the world is just forgetting about that. Yeah, like, why isn't Dragon Quest being a thing brought up?
Not what we expected, because it doesn't talk about copyright infringement for protected designs. Rather, it's about patent infringement. And remember, this is cold. This is business. This is about defeating your foe. So if the spirit of your complaint, say designs being too similar, is a weaker legal argument, well, then your extremely expensive lawyers will not make that argument, but they will, of course, try to achieve your goals. And remember, Nintendo's lawyers are some of the best in the entire industry. And they've done easy things like knocking out these Pokemon clones from China, but more recently, we have a scary story.
Honestly, the fact that they managed to, like, get China to do anything is testament to their prowess. Like, damn.
They won $30 million suing Colopool over patent infringement. And that's exactly what we're dealing with here. But what's spooky is the specific patents and how that litigation went down.
Yeah, it's like, it's not a copyright infringement, it is a patent infringement. It's more curious what exactly they're patenting. And also the fact that they're even allowed to patent certain things like that. It is insane.
And this is almost certainly, I believe, what they'll do to Pocket Pair, because it seems like it's their playbook. They try to get them in patents. Here's a few of them. Quote, the special technology used to operate a joystick over a touch panel. Another one is a confirmation screen appearing whenever you resume a game from sleep mode.
What? They patented a basic quality of life? A confirmation screen after sleep mode. You know, when devices are sleeping and you want to resume, there's a confirmation. Are you sure you want to resume? And then you tap yes or no. Nintendo has a patent on that. Jesus Christ, man. Why is this even a patent? How did they even manage to patent this? How are they patenting basic quality of life features? That's actually bullshit. What the fudge? Oh my god.
Dr. Toto summed up the others. He said,
it's Nintendo. That doesn't explain how they're getting the patents going. Like, I understand they have badass lawyers and they have money and they have, like, power, but, like, you're not supposed to just buy your basic patents on this.
Said this, quote, and they have 5 other ones, including one for isometric, pseudo, 3D games. When the character is hidden behind a tree, the game forms a shadow so you have a sense for where your character is, even though you don't see your character clearly. Do you know what's really funny? World of Warcraft just added that. So many games have that. You're playing an isometric game, you walk behind a tall building, but you still see where your character is. Yet that...
What? You just explained how and why they got away with it. Yeah, but that shouldn't be the case. That's what I'm saying. Like, I understand that they are basically throwing their weight around to get their way, right? They are strong-arming themselves into patents like this. But why are they allowed? Why is the patenting office allowing it, and why is no one doing anything about it? This is dirty. This is incredibly dirty. This is beyond dirty. This is next level. Oh my God. The office is staffed by old people. Then how are they able to grant patents? Why are they allowed to freaking comment and do anything? They don't know technology. They shouldn't freaking grant patents of things they do not know anything about. I feel like gaming in general should attack these patents. Like, people should band together and attack the legitimacy of these patents. Like, the fact that you have a silhouette if you're hiding in grass so that you can see your character, it being a patent, what the fudge, man? You can patent any kind of invention. I'm pretty sure they didn't invent having a highlight on your character when you're hidden, or a confirmation screen. That's not inventing anything. They didn't invent anything. And yet those are patents.
That is something Nintendo actually used. They do hold those patents, but many would say those patents are so broad and industry standard that they're invalid. And that actually is a defense in Japan. It's one that, in this case, the defendant made. They said that Nintendo's patents lacked novelty and inventiveness and therefore are invalid, so broad that they're essentially meaningless. And this is where the story gets chilling. Nintendo didn't have to win. Colopil ended up having to settle. The settlement is, of course, a mutual agreement between both companies to come to terms and stop the legal fight. But make no mistake, Nintendo were not the losers here, and it's worse than that. The settlement involves Colopil having to pay Nintendo a licensing fee for those patents. Now, by the law of the land, Nintendo did not prove their patent claim, as far as my understanding goes. Yet, even though they didn't prove that legally, they successfully strong-armed their target into number one, giving up a lot of money, and number two, into a licensing deal for those patents that many would argue are invalid by the law of Japan. But again, that argument did not get fully borne out in the court. We don't have a legal decision. And that's the thing. The legal system is supposed to uphold the law, but here, this system was the weapon, and the law didn't exactly matter. Palworld, then. Nintendo's filings are not...
That is crazy. Like, patents were definitely not invented for this. They're definitely abused and mistreated by greedy corps. Like, this is peak greediness at that point. Like, even deciding things like what you're patenting, right? And how its application is being used and having to give license fees to something. And like, what the heck? The monopoly as well, duration being too long. It's insanity. Have a good night, Matthew.
Not public. That means we do not know what patents they're using. The people over at Pocket Pair also don't know. But here's a Nintendo example that Stephen Totillo found in the US Patent Office, and there is crossover between the US and Japanese patent offices. You can see this amazing art. Throwing an item to catch a monster. We see some WikiHow tier art of it. We see a flowchart. And look, if it was Palworld, the pterosaur would absolutely be holding an AK, but I don't...
Oh my god. Let's go back and look at it. La, 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 la. So if you're throwing something to catch a monster, how did they even get the patent to that? Because they're not the first people that did this. Like, how? They patented in 2023? How? This is baffling to me. The fact that anyone can go like, oh, you created something years ago? Yeah, I'm gonna monetize it. You can't use it anymore. It's insane. They don't even have to invent it. They just have to go to the office and be like, here, have money. It's mine now.
Palworld, the pterosaur would absolutely be holding an AK, but I don't think that detail is going
People
to
need to change the system of patents.
Let's talk about
honestly.
their response. Big Winston
This
once
is
said,
ridiculous.
never let a good crisis go to waste. And, well, Pocket Pair are leveraging their biggest asset here, their community. And look, like it or not, whether you think a big rat creature with an AK is an artistically cohesive thing or not, the truth is, that Palworld happened in a world where most of my generation loved Pokemon as kids and then drifted away from the franchise over a continued lack of innovation and pretty damn scummy business practices that just about nobody else is able to get away with.
Like, people just got sick of being served slop, of being served second tier 30 FPS locked games that look like shit, of seeing absolutely no innovation, no changes in anything. The same boring gameplay loop that somehow is worse than the first Pokemons that came out, as well as the fact that they decided that characters no longer have a masculine and a feminine form, and now they're freaking blobs that look like nothing, and they're just sausage tubes. That's literally your character, a sausage tube in Pokemon Go. Like, all they've done is destroy the franchise with complacency, lack of innovation, lack of caring. They just milked the heck out of it with minimal effort, because why wouldn't they? People paid for years, and yeah, there's no passion anymore. There's just slop.
In that context, Palworld captured attention, and it used extremely sticky and battle-tested game mechanics, base building, collecting, automation to hold on to people. That does mean the community actually likes them by and large. And so in this situation, they absolutely are David, and the rocks in their sling are the community. Let's talk about their statement. They start by reinforcing that they're small, how Palworld succeeded with the community, and they end with the real message. Quote, "It is truly unfortunate that we will be forced to allocate significant time to matters unrelated to game development due to this lawsuit. However, we will do our utmost for our fans and to ensure that indie developers are not hindered or discouraged from pursuing their creative ideas."
Damn.
And that's really
that
the
is
thing.
that is a deep message that they sent there. Well crafted and well thought out, as well as garnering public sympathy and also giving a message that they will try their best so that future developers have a chance to make their games. Damn.
This is just the beginning. This is a battle that will take years because it's legal and that's how it goes. Palworld, though, is not just a small indie company. That's where Sony actually entered the picture. So a few months back, Pocket Pair announced a joint venture with Sony Music Entertainment and an anime company called Aniplex. Basically, right, they want to do what rocketed Pokemon and got, the Chin Pokemon episode of South Park.
I actually did not know they did that. That is cool. I know that they put a couple of shorts on their YouTube with like silly moments with the pals, just having like cute moments, like dates between each other and other like silly things. The Presso is like huge and super beloved in those shorts. I didn't know that they were planning on actually making an anime. Damn. Like, right now it seems only merch, but it's probably gonna end up with more than merch if they had managed to stay afloat. I don't know if they will now, but
they want to exploit the Palworld IP outside of video games through anime, through music, probably a card game, and everything you could imagine. And that's what makes me wonder here. Do Nintendo see this as a threat? It may not be a threat now, because I think Palworld is appealing to different...
No. I disagree with that. I think Palworld is a threat right now. Like, they are definitely a threat because a lot of people saw the amount of fun you had with it. And even the people that dislike Palworld because it's not their type of game, they are still hoping that it's going to turn into something. That they're still hoping that Palworld will make Nintendo get off their ass to make a better game. Obviously, Nintendo went, "You guys want a better game? You're gonna eat the slop that we feed you. You're gonna open your mouth and just swallow, like good consumers that you are, all our slop. We're not making anything better. We're just gonna destroy Palworld, send a message that no one's gonna mess with Pokemon similar to Pokemon stuff ever again. It's our turf. We're defending it, and tough." Like, they are sending the worst message. And honestly, I think like this is gonna make Nintendo less liked, but I also think people are still gonna continue buying their product, which is sad.
Different people than just the core Pokemon experience as it is.
They should go after Arc, but Arc isn't trying to make merch, make an anime, develop outside of just being a game. And Arc, no offense, are scummy themselves on reselling you the same game because they changed the engine for like way higher price and asking for money without actually delivering new shit. Like, Arc is doing the exact same thing. They're not a threat because they're following in the Pokemon footsteps. Just keep reinventing the same wheel, deliver slop to people will eat it up and be happy with it.
Currently. But if you look at the likes of Arceus, you do actually see that, while Arceus was rightly laughed at for its visual presentation, it actually did innovate the gameplay, and it was way better than any of the other modern Pokemon games for sure. So they may be thinking, well, we want to innovate and push Pokemon forward. Maybe Palworld is going to muscle in that turf. And they've also realized something. Palworld was scrappy. It was an indie. When you hear about the development, it does seem like a little bit of a technical shit show. But that's the thing. It will only get better and stronger from here, and now it has got proper corporate backing with those joint venture agreements. So for Nintendo, if they see a rival brand to Pokemon, would they not rather kill it where it is now when it's small? And here's where I want to be clear. Every game developer should be against this, and I know that within the industry, many think that Pocket Pair are, in a way, creative hacks who couldn't even bother making their own in-universe version of a gun. They just grabbed an AK or an AR from an asset store and slapped it onto a pocket monster. But that doesn't actually matter now. That doesn't matter.
Yeah, but like, they're not going for the copyright, Nina. They don't care about the fact that you are using creatures. They care about the fact that this game that people keep comparing to Pokemon is more fun, and they have funding, and that they're going outside of just gaming. They care about the fact that a lot of people might end up liking Palworld universe more than the Pokemon universe.
What matters is this dangers us all, and it's something that's happened before. It is common understanding the game mechanics cannot be copyrighted. Exact implementation can be, but not in broad strokes. You can't go and patent the Metroidvania format. I mean, we used to call what's now the FPS a Doom clone. And yeah, if you're newer, you may not know that, but in the 90s, it wasn't necessarily FPS, it was Doom clones, but the idea of a first-person shooter is not something that id could go and copyright. But specific mechanics, well, those can be patented. And that's because copyright protects the usage of the things that you've designed or wrote, and patents are designed to protect mechanical inventions or processes. The whole point there being that if you actually make an innovation, the patent system protects your ability to exploit that, and in doing so, it creates a financial incentive for people to innovate. The thing is, though, if a patent is too broad, it can become impossible to reproduce without infringement. And that's where broad patents are a problem. And this hurts you. I would actually say it has hurt you. You just don't know it because we cannot see the road not taken.
Yep, that is very true. Like, a lot of people will choose to avoid certain things, certain mechanics, because it's patented. And we simply will not get that mechanic. We're not going to get certain quality of life things, like when you get the confirmation message, simply because of that. Like, there are things that you just don't see that you're not getting because of these walls that we have to navigate. They're just invisible.
The Lord of the Rings Shadow of Mordor's Nemesis system was a true innovation, honestly. It led to emergent gameplay within that game that actually saw people forgetting about the core progression and just having fun in the sandbox settling scores with orcs. It was fun, it was dynamic, and it was a relationship with our enemies in the game that was actually player-driven. But Warner Bros. Patented it. And thus far, nobody has got past that patent. And that means that one of the 2010's greatest innovations in gaming is locked within one of the worst publishers. So if you're a AAA game or a AA, you probably don't want the risk.
Yep.
If you're an indie, though, well, will a publisher pick you up and fund you, knowing that an American megacorp could just attack you? And even if you're a self-funded indie, well, what are the chances that you drop your trailer after working in secret for 2 years, your trailer catches on, and just before release, you get
absolutely
served with
zero
something by Warner Bros.
No one's going to risk it.
This chilling effect means that we're not seeing the next version of the Nemesis system, the next iteration or innovation along those lines. That's the thing. Nintendo is a bad actor here. They are.
Yeah, they're definitely a bad actor. Like, it is not good for gaming. But again, Nina, like, they cannot go after things that resemble Pokemon because they are not going after things that resemble Pokemon. Plus, they can't even make that defense because before Pokemon, there were other creature games. Like, they cannot win that battle. So they go for patents instead. Like, the problem isn't similarity of creatures. Look beyond that. Look further. It's like we've been listening to this video for 20 minutes and somehow you're still talking about how creatures are similar. No one cares about that. Not even Nintendo. They're literally not suing for that.
Are, in my opinion anyway, using overly generic patents not as a true attack vector, but rather as a mind-controlling parasite, because this doesn't seem to be about winning the legal case. It seems more an excuse to pick up the legal system and to harness it to maul your opponent to death, regardless of what a trial verdict may be, because as we just saw, well, they can pull you into a settlement that is amazingly favorable to them.
It's not even the fact that they can pull you into a settlement that's amazing to them, because yes, that is one of the ways that they can win, with the fact that they can just go, okay, we have like X amount of patents, just pay us a fortune and we leave you alone, right? But it's also the fact that they are distracting the developers and forcing them with this legal suit, shackling them to it. Like, they are shackling Palworld with the fact that, like, they kind of put a heavy weight on their legs and they told them, okay, go swim now. Good luck. It's insane. I didn't even know patents could be that broad. Like, to me, that alone is baffling and new news, because what the heck, a notification in a game? My brain is still trying to comprehend that part. I was like, I need to watch the video on patents now.
Now, there is a story this week about development about who I think you could call villains in the industry. It's about Unity. The whole Unity drama finally came to a close, and if you want to learn more, learn how, and see what happened, click here next.
Damn. Well, that was an interesting video. It actually gave us a lot of food for thought and a lot of like things to process and think about, as well as a bit more perspective and insight into the whole lawsuit. Patents, like, I am shook, honestly. Like, I don't know how to say it in other words. I'm just like baffled at the fact that people can get away with that and that no one is challenging their patent right, because such a broad patent is unfair, restrictive, and bad for the industry.